Have you ever been paralyzed by the fear of failure or rejection? Picture this. You're about to step onto a stage, your heart pounding in your chest, your palms slick with sweat. Or perhaps you're about to hit send on that groundbreaking proposal, but your hand hovers over the mouse, hesitating. These scenarios are all too familiar, aren't they? That's because our minds are powerful entities, capable of conjuring up all sorts of terrifying scenarios. Our imagination, while a beautiful gift, can also become a breeding ground for fear. It amplifies our anxieties, creating mountains out of molehills. And before we know it, we're shackled by the fear of what might happen. But here's the catch. More often than not, these fears are unfounded. They exist only in the realms of our imagination, not in our reality. Notably, the Roman philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Let's take Emily, a talented artist, as an example. Emily had a dream to showcase her art in a prestigious gallery. Yet she was held back, not by lack of skill or drive, but by fear. She was haunted by an imaginary chorus of critics, dismissing her work, laughing at her efforts. These imagined voices became so loud, so real, that Emily started to believe them. Her fear of these non-existent critics kept her art hidden away, unseen by the world. But one day, Emily stumbled upon a quote by Seneca, the ancient philosopher, who said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This simple line struck a chord in Emily. She started to question the validity of her fears, of these imagined critics. She realized that she was not suffering from real criticism or rejection. Instead, she was a victim of her own imagination, her own self-doubt. This realization was a revelation for Emily. She understood that her fears were mere illusions, not reflections of her reality. These fears, these critics, existed only in her mind. They had no power over her unless she allowed them to. Emboldened by this newfound understanding, Emily decided to take a leap of faith. She gathered her courage and submitted her work to a gallery. And guess what? Her exhibition was a resounding success. The critics she had imagined, the rejection she had feared, never materialized. Instead, she was met with applause, admiration, and appreciation. Her art, once hidden away, was now being celebrated. Emily's story illustrates that our fears, more often than not, are just figments of our imagination. Her experience serves as a powerful reminder that we should not let our imagined fears dictate our actions. We should not let our imaginations make us suffer when reality might be waiting to reward us. In our digitally connected world, it's easy to be consumed by imagined fears. Our screens are awash with highlight reels of others' lives, painting pictures of perfection that can often make our own lives seem inadequate in comparison. But remember, this is often just a distorted reality, carefully curated and presented for consumption. Let's revisit the wisdom of Seneca, who so astutely observed, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In the context of our modern world, this quote serves as a powerful reminder that our fears and anxieties are frequently products of our own imagination. They are not reflections of our true circumstances, but creations of our mind, amplified by the constant barrage of seemingly flawless lives we see on our screens. So, how do we apply Seneca's wisdom to our own lives? It starts by challenging the validity of these fears. Ask yourself, is what you're afraid of a genuine threat, or is it a scenario you've constructed in your mind? Are you avoiding risks based on realities or imagined outcomes? By recognizing the difference between our imagined fears and our reality, we can begin to dismantle these mental barriers. Whether it's applying for a new job, starting a business, or expressing ourselves creatively, we can embrace opportunities with a clearer understanding that our imagined outcomes are often far worse than what reality holds. Recognizing that our fears are often imagined rather than real can empower us to live more confidently and courageously. So let's step out of the shadows of our imagined fears and into the light of reality, where true growth and fulfillment await us. So, what can we learn from Seneca's wisdom? The takeaway is profound, yet simple. Our fears, those daunting apparitions, are oftentimes just figments of our imagination, not reflections of actuality. Recognizing this empowers us to challenge these fears, to step out of our comfort zones, to seize opportunities that life throws our way. Remember, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So, don't let your imagination hold you back from achieving your dreams.